I've been married to Ava for 5 years, and she has always hated me to the core. She has kept one young and handsome man after another, and indulged them to show off in front of me. She didn't hesitate to get pregnant with her lover's child, just to commemorate her deceased first love. She said, "You killed him, and this is all your retribution." Later, she apologized to me with tears in her eyes and begged me to start over with her. But it was too late. I was already dying. The day I received the cancer diagnosis happened to be the day of our high school classmates' reunion. I called Ava several times, wanting to ask if she wanted to go with me, but she didn't answer any of them. All I got in response was 3 words on WeChat. "Don't bother me." I went to the dining place alone, and everyone made jokes. "Your Ava has become a CEO and is so busy that she doesn't even come to the classmates' reunion. Huh, could it be that she looks down on us old classmates who are just average? Stop joking. Ava is the most nostalgic. Every year for these years, she would give Julian." The person who was speaking suddenly stopped and looked at me with some apology. "Sorry, Lucas." I forced a smile and said, "It doesn't matter." My classmates quickly changed the subject one after another. Since Julian died, Ava has set aside half a month every year to fly back to Julian's hometown to sweep his grave. Even Julian's parents have always been taken care of by Ava for their old age. She didn't care what I thought, and even ignored the dissuasion of her parents. She made a big show of it and went her own way. As a result, everyone knew that even though her first love was dead and even though Ava had married me, there would always be a place for that person in her heart. I took a sip of tea and forced myself to stop thinking about it. At this time, the door of the private room opened, and Ava, dressed in a Chanel suit and with exquisite makeup, walked in gracefully. There was a smile on her lips, and she seemed to be in a good mood. My heart skipped a beat. Everyone in the private room shouted, "Ava! We all thought you weren't coming. Wow, the class beauty is still so young and beautiful. Hurry up. Your Lucas didn't even smile or have an appetite when you weren't here." However, there was a young man following behind Ava. My breath caught. His face was 7 or 8 points similar to that of the already dead Julian. "Sorry, everyone. I'm late." Ava sat in the empty seat next to me and naturally asked the waiter to add a chair. "Let me introduce you. This is Ethan." Short and to the point. Ethan looked shy and a little awkward as he greeted everyone, "Hello, everyone." Everyone was extremely embarrassed. No one responded, and they all just secretly looked at me. After all, Ethan's face was really too similar to Julian's. Coupled with the fact that Ava had never forgotten Julian over the years, it was impossible for everyone not to think in that direction. Ava seemed not to notice. She helped the people next to her get chopsticks and tableware, and said in an affectionate tone, "These are all my old classmates. You don't need to be nervous. Okay." From beginning to end, she didn't even look at me once, as if I were a stranger. I felt a lump in my throat. It was one thing for her to give me various forms of cold violence at home on weekdays, but today she actually dared to bring a man from outside directly to the classmates' reunion. She was deliberately trying to embarrass me. My stomach suddenly started to ache sharply, and something surged up in my throat. I suddenly stood up and said, "Sorry, everyone. I need to go to the restroom." "Lucas, why do you look so pale? Are you okay?" the class monitor asked with concern, and I looked at Ava beside me. She was talking softly to Ethan and didn't even give me a glance. I waved my hand and walked out quickly. I vomited in the toilet until I felt dizzy. The pain in my stomach became more and more intense. Even as a grown man, I couldn't help but break out in cold sweat, and I didn't even know when someone stood behind me. "Ugh, who is this? So disgusting." I turned my head, and Ethan looked at me arrogantly, completely different from the timid look he had in the private room just now. I ignored him, rinsed my mouth, and was about to go out. He blocked my way, waved the Rolex on his wrist at me, and said, "This is a birthday gift from Ava. Do you have one, bro?" "No way, no way. You haven't even received a gift from your wife, have you?" "Humph, so vulgar." I said expressionlessly, "I don't remember how many mistresses have come to show off in front of me, but you are definitely the most superficial one." Ethan's expression changed. Then he stuck out his neck and shouted at me, "Humph, you're just being stubborn. Ava said she likes me the most. She's even willing to bring me to your classmates' reunion. Doesn't that mean something?" I looked at his face and nodded in agreement. "Yes, you are indeed different. Don't worry, you'll be able to take my place soon. I wish you a happy marriage for 100 years. My magnanimity stunned Ethan. When I got back to the private room, Ava was peeling shrimps. Ethan followed closely behind me, and Ava put the peeled shrimps into his bowl. Eat it while it's hot. It's almost getting cold. I don't know why I came back. Maybe it was just that ridiculous sense of unwillingness and pride in me. Maybe I wanted to see how much more humiliation Ava could heap on me before the divorce. Ava didn't shy away at all. The atmosphere in the private room became more and more awkward. Someone couldn't help but ask her, "Ava, who is he?" "Oh, Ethan is my secretary now." Ethan smiled with his lips pursed. A secretary? She used to just play around with those men, but this time she actually arranged him directly into the company. She really has deep feelings for Ethan, or rather, for Julian. What about me? What am I to her after being married to her for 5 years? Ava sat for less than 10 minutes and then got up to leave. The old classmates who had been looking forward to her appearance looked at the man beside her and tacitly didn't try to persuade her to stay. The door closed, and someone suddenly said, "Do you know that it said that before Julian died, someone revealed his address to those creditors, so they were able to find him?" My hand shook, and most of the wine in the glass spilled out. At the same time, Ava, who had forgotten to take her bag, came back. When she heard this, her face immediately turned extremely gloomy. 5 years ago, Julian was being chased by creditors and was constantly on the run. His last call was to me. He asked me for money, but I refused. Then, the next day, he was found and fell to his death under an abandoned building. When he died, his body was covered in bruises. Obviously he had been tortured to death. When Ava found out about this, she broke down and cried. Especially when she learned from the police that Julian had asked me for help before he died but I had refused, she directly hated me. She believed that I indirectly caused Julian's death. So over the years, she has used cold violence and found one man after another outside to take revenge on me. The more I suffered, the more relieved she felt. When I was diagnosed with cancer, I even thought defiantly, "When I'm dead, Ava will finally be satisfied, right? She'll probably say that it serves me right and that I deserve to die." Ava came home with me and smashed everything in the house that could be smashed to pieces. "Lucas, was it you? You told those people Julian's whereabouts. He only called you." Even though I still remember him in my heart, I was just leaving a little memory of my past with him. "I've already married you. What more do you want?" Ava shouted hysterically at me as if I were the one who had killed Julian with my own hands. I looked at the mess on the floor. Everything had been carefully bought by me for this home. But Ava didn't hesitate at all. No matter how expensive it was, she picked it up and smashed it. That's right. For her, this might never have been a home. I said calmly, "Even though he was a gambler? Even though he deceived you again and again when you were with him?" "Shut up." Ava was shaking with anger. She hadn't been this agitated in front of me for a long time. She glared at me viciously, her eyes filled with malice. "Do you think you've won just because he's dead? I'm telling you, it's impossible. The situation between you and me today is all the retribution you deserve." With that, she stormed out. The next day, when Ava's parents came, they saw a scene of chaos as if a hurricane had passed through. Her father was so angry that he was shaking all over. "Was it Ava, right?" I didn't say anything. Seeing my acquiescence, her father said to her mother, "Call that damned girl right now and tell her to come back immediately." I wanted to persuade him that it wasn't necessary. Since Ava became a CEO, she has even more reason not to come home and not to answer my calls. I have tolerated, understood, questioned, and quarreled. In the end, all that's left is numbness and indifference. Just as I was about to speak, my throat suddenly itched terribly, and I couldn't help but cough violently. Ava's parents patted me on the back and poured me a glass of hot water. I coughed so hard that I curled up on the sofa and couldn't straighten my back. Ava's mother's eyes turned red. "Lucas, it's all Ava's fault, and we, as parents, are also to blame." "Mom, cough, don't say that, cough." Her father also said, "Lucas, you've been wrong these past few years. Your mother and I didn't expect that Ava would become like this after getting married. If we had known, we shouldn't have." "Dad!" I interrupted him. "Cough, I volunteered to marry Ava back then, and I still don't regret it now. We agreed that we would always keep that matter from Ava. Otherwise, all our efforts back then and my tolerance all these years would be in vain." After a long while, her father let out a long sigh, as if he had made a certain decision. "Lucas, divorce Ava." I was taken aback. My daughter is blind and heartless. You don't have to bear any burden. You've already done your best for her. Whatever her future may be, it's all her own choice." Her mother's tears flowed even more profusely, but she also nodded in agreement. "Lucas, how many more 5 years of your life can you waste? Divorce Ava, find someone more suitable for you, live a good life, and start anew. After all, our family is sorry for you." I gave a bitter smile. The diagnosis certificate was still hidden in my pocket. My fingertips pressed against the tip of the paper, and it hurt slightly. Where did I have the chance to start anew now? The three of us fell into a collective silence. It was a dark memory that no one wanted to recall. 5 years ago, for the sake of money, Julian tricked Ava, who had just gotten engaged to me, to his residence. In his madness, he drugged her with a large dose of sedative, and then let different men take turns to bully her. When Ava woke up, she was severely traumatized and almost lost her mind. She attempted suicide several times. A rising star who had been excellent in both character and learning since childhood, won numerous awards, and had great talent in artistic creation, and had just graduated with a master's degree, was on the verge of falling because of a scumbag. Her parents almost cried themselves to death. In the end, we had to find the best psychologists and hypnotists in the country. After making great efforts, we successfully made Ava forget that terrifying memory of being bullied. However, correspondingly, she also forgot the fact that Julian tricked her out and drugged her. In her heart, Julian was still the first love that she would still cherish deep down even though she was married. After that, I still married her according to the marriage contract. I promised her parents that I would protect her for the rest of her life. In order not to stimulate Ava, we had to give up suing Julian. I went to great lengths to set up a situation and made Julian owe a huge amount of money at the gambling table. When he was at the end of his rope, I deliberately let those people find him. In the end, as I wished, he died a miserable death. However, even if he died 10,000 times, it wouldn't be enough to atone for his sins. Ava's mother made a phone call. It was Ethan who answered the phone. "Auntie, Ava is in a meeting and it's not convenient for her to answer the phone. I'm her new secretary. You can tell me anything, and it's the same." Ava's mother hung up the phone and muttered, "When did Ava change to a male secretary?" I didn't say anything more. So what if I did? It would just make them angry for nothing. Moreover, I was almost dying. What else was there to be unwilling about? The company's new product launch conference was scheduled for the end of the month. Actually, I didn't want to go. Since the day I received the diagnosis certificate, I hadn't gone to the company. Just as well. I didn't have to see Ethan's annoying face every day. My colleagues in the company persuaded me, "Lucas, this time the company has also invited many of the clients you used to maintain. It wouldn't be good if you don't attend." Yes, as a founding member, I had won over many major clients through countless social interactions. I was silent for a moment and then said okay. Just consider it as the last thing I do for Ava and the business we had worked hard on together. As expected, Ava still brought Ethan with her. He raised his eyebrows at me arrogantly, like a dog relying on its master's power. "Lucas, we meet again." Before I could say anything, Ava called Ethan away. "Come on, I'll introduce you to some people." I forced myself to greet my old friends a few words and then went to the corner to drink alone. Yes, my dad is being unreasonable and insisted on bringing me here. A girl in her early 20s sat beside me and complained on the phone. I didn't pay much attention to her and continued drinking my wine. "Uncle, you can't mix these two kinds of wine. Don't you know that?" The girl hung up the phone and suddenly asked me loudly. "Oh, I knew that." Then I poured myself another glass. The girl pursed her lips and gave me a roll of her eyes. When she was about to leave, I stopped her. "Little sister, am I really that old? Why are you calling me uncle?" Compared to someone like Ethan, I was indeed a bit older, but that was called being mature, okay? The girl turned around, met my depressed gaze, and found it a bit funny. "Why do you, a grown man, care so much about your age?" Just then, Ethan came over and started speaking rudely. "Ava is busy greeting the guests. What are you doing hiding here alone? Look at you now. TSK, TSK, TSK. You look like a homeless dog." Sigh. I was a bit tipsy, and Ethan's features began to distort and enlarge in my eyes, making me want to tear his face apart. "Get lost. Don't get in my way. Lucas, I know you're not happy that Ava promoted me to be her secretary, but Ava just likes me. There's nothing I can do about it." Seeing that I ignored him, he continued to be annoying. "Lucas also knows that he's an eyesore. If I were you, I wouldn't have come at all, so as not to make a fool of myself. Damn it! Where did this fly come from? I clenched my fists, but before I could take action, someone next to me couldn't stand it anymore. Hey, how did you, a gigolo, sneak into this place? Pfft! I almost burst out laughing. Not to mention, this pretty boy Ethan really had the air of a gigolo. How dare you talk like that? I'm the secretary of Ava from Chicheon Group. I'm not a gigolo. You're the gigolo, and your whole family are gigolos. The girl stood with her hands on her hips and didn't show any fear at all. Come on. Who would believe your nonsense? I heard that Ava is a very capable person and has first-class taste. Would she choose someone like you as her secretary? Unless she's blind. I raised my eyebrows and couldn't help but look at this girl. Her big, mischievous eyes were cunning and naughty. She really hit the nail on the head. Ava, wasn't she really blind? Ethan was almost driven crazy with anger. He pointed at the girl and his lips trembled. I think you're the one who snuck in here to mooch off the food and drinks. Security guards. Security guards. Throw this person out for me. As he said that, he was about to come and pull the girl. I put down my wine glass, stood up, and blocked him. Take your dirty hands away. Ethan was almost half a head shorter than me, and he was thin. In front of me, he was like a malnourished chicken chick. If it weren't for that face, I would have suspected that Ava's brain was squeezed by a door to have taken a fancy to such a person. 2 security guards immediately appeared. The commotion was quite big, and everyone's attention in the venue was drawn to our side. Ava pushed through the crowd, glanced at me indifferently, and then said softly to Ethan, "What happened?" Ethan bit his lower lip and was about to file a complaint. "Dad! This man just called you a gigolo." There was an uproar among the crowd. At the front of the crowd, the chairman of the Olivia group looked bewildered. The girl jumped over and affectionately hooked her arm around his. "Dad, it's this pretty boy. He called you a gigolo. He also wanted to throw me out and said that I was here to mooch off the food and drinks." The girl pointed at me. He heard it too. He's a witness. Ethan never expected that the person he had just offended was actually the daughter of the chairman of the Olivia group. In an instant, his face turned as white as paper. Ava's smile was a bit forced. "Mr. Olivia, there must be a misunderstanding here. The security guards have already been called. What other misunderstanding could there be? If it weren't for this Lucas, I would have been thrown out by now." Ethan was anxious. "No, she was the one who called me a gigolo first, and then I." The rest of his words were stopped by a look from Ava. Ava walked forward warmly and said, "My secretary is still young. It's just a squabble between young people. It's not a big deal. How about this? Regardless of who's right or wrong, let him apologize to Miss Olivia." She ordered Ethan. "Secretary Ethan, hurry up and apologize." Ethan looked aggrieved but didn't dare to disobey. He reluctantly said, "Miss Olivia, I was wrong just now. You have a big heart. Please don't hold it against me." Miss Olivia gave him a roll of her eyes, and Ethan was so angry that he almost jumped up again. Finally, Mr. Olivia of the Olivia group spoke. "Olivia, forgive others when you can." The smile on Ava's face began to fade. After all, Mr. Olivia is an experienced person. When he said that to his daughter, on the surface, he seemed to be scolding her, but in reality, he was backing her up. "It was your Ava's person who bullied my daughter, and it's only right that he should apologize. Don't act like you're being wronged here." However, no matter what, Ava couldn't possibly go against the Olivia group. "I've made you laugh, Mr. Olivia. It's okay now, it's all right." After the crowd dispersed, Ava, with a dark face, told Ethan to leave first. Ethan almost cried. Ava originally wanted to bring Ethan along to pave the way for him, but things backfired, and she ended up losing a great deal of face. Olivia hadn't left yet. She came over and started chatting with me. "I can tell that you like that Ava, and Ava likes pretty boys, so you can only drink your sorrows away. The pretty boy is so conceited that he comes to mock and taunt you. But Ava has been married for a long time, hasn't she? Is it really worth it for you people? Ava's husband is really pitiful. I think you should give up. I can tell that Ava not only doesn't like you but can even be said to dislike you a bit." I stopped the movement of drinking. I stubbornly said, "Child, don't talk nonsense." She wasn't happy and was about to retort when I said, "Is it possible that I'm Ava's poor husband?" "Ah?" Olivia was stunned. Ava didn't come home at night. Her little lover had been wronged today, and she might have gone to soothe him. I stayed in the empty house, and I was enveloped by an unprecedented sense of loneliness. I don't know if it's because I have a terminal illness, but recently I've become more and more sentimental. Lying there groggily, my stomach started to ache again. Ava called me, and her tone was unfriendly. If you have any dissatisfaction, come at me. Ethan is young. Why are you targeting him? I didn't say anything, and she raised her voice in dissatisfaction. Lucas. If you're not dead, speak. Promise me that you won't cause trouble for Ethan in the future, or I. Ava, let's get a divorce. There was sudden silence on the other end. I held the phone and let out a slight sigh of relief. It turned out that it wasn't difficult at all to say these words. I heard Ethan's timid voice on the other end of the phone, Ava. It seemed that she came to her senses. Ava suddenly laughed. Sure, you said it, Lucas. Don't play any tricks of playing hard to get with me. You don't deserve it. Tomorrow I'll ask the lawyer to draw up the divorce agreement. Regarding the property during the marriage. Don't worry. I won't fight you for it. I'll only take what belongs to me. Lucas, Ava seemed to grit her teeth. I might as well tell you that I've already asked someone to investigate the truth about Julian's death back then. Once I find the direct evidence that you killed him, even if we're divorced, I still won't let you go. There came a series of busy tones on the phone. I suddenly sat up. This is serious. With Ava's current ability and financial resources, she might really find out everything that I had tried so hard to make her forget. After thinking for a long time, I still called her parents and told them about this matter. Her mother immediately became too anxious to sit still. Lucas, what should we do? The doctor said back then that she couldn't be stimulated, otherwise if she remembers, all our efforts will be in vain. I thought for a while. Julian has been dead for several years, and I've tried my best to erase all the traces of that incident. Actually, Ava may not be able to find out. Lucas, although that's what you say, but what if? Mom and Dad, I will try my best to persuade her. After all, the reason why Ava is doing all this is to take revenge on me, isn't it? She's convinced that I killed Julian, and what she wants is for me to pay with my life for her first love, right? Anyway, I'm going to die soon, and she'll soon get what she wants. I went to the company early the next morning. Everyone in the company treated me with respect, except for one person, Ethan. He was dressed in a suit, looking decent. Holding a cup of coffee, he really had the air of an urban elite. He didn't hide the hostility in his eyes. What are you doing here? I said in a deep voice, even if you're Ava's secretary, don't forget that I'm Lucas of this company. Although no one dared to say anything directly, I could feel that there were countless curious eyes and pricked up ears behind me. Ethan's face changed, and after all, he didn't dare to be too presumptuous in front of the other people in the company. I stopped looking at him and walked straight into the president's office. Ethan hurried after me. Hey, even if you're Ava's husband in name, you can't just barge in without knocking. Ava was taking some medicine. When she saw me come in, she quickly hid the things under the desk, as if she had been caught doing something bad. I only caught a glimpse of the word, folic acid. What was Ava taking this for? I suppressed the suspicion in my heart and said calmly, tell me, what do I have to do for you to feel better? Ava was first taken aback, and then she sneered. Lucas, what kind of tone and attitude is this? Do you think you're qualified to question me? I took a deep breath. I know that you hate me deeply, so I think it's better for us to be straightforward and talk it out, so as to avoid you bringing all kinds of people around you just to stimulate and torture me. Don't you feel disgusted yourself? Just as I said this, Ethan came in. A trace of anger flashed across his face, but he still held it back and looked at Ava pitifully. Ava beckoned for Ethan to come over. Ethan took 2 quick steps, took Ava's hand, and looked at me triumphantly like a winner. Lucas, you don't know yet, do you? Last week, Ava just gave me a house in Huada and a Porsche Panamera. I frowned. Before we got married, I joked with Ava that when she became successful in her business and became a president, I'd be waiting for her to buy me a car, and it would be a Porsche Panamera. I'd drive it out and say it was bought for me by my wife, and how impressive that would be. The 2 people opposite thought I was feeling sorry for the money. Ava said, don't talk to me about that bullshit of community property during marriage. It's my money, and I can spend it on whoever I want. Money? I suddenly found it ridiculous. When had I, Lucas, ever cared about such worldly possessions? So Ava deliberately spends money on other men and thinks that I'll be angry and go crazy. She doesn't know that a person who has already given up all hope can't possibly care about such things. The only thing that makes me unwilling is that she still can't forget Julian, making my forbearance and sacrifice seem like a huge joke. It doesn't matter. I'm not here to cause trouble for this pretty boy who's a substitute. I just want to know if you'll be satisfied only when I'm dead? Ava almost immediately and very definitely replied to me. Yes. Even though I was mentally prepared, my heart still inevitably took a hard hit. The frequency of my stomachache was getting higher and higher. I endured the discomfort. Okay, I admit that Julian's death is indeed related to me. Ava's pupils shrank, and she suddenly stood up. Her voice was a little shaky. What did you say? Say it again. I looked her straight in the eye. Ava, you don't have to bother anymore. Julian's death is inextricably linked to me. Julian called me, and I lied to him that I would go to him with the money. He stupidly gave me his address. And I, in turn, gave this address to those loan sharks. I'm afraid that even when Julian died, he still thought that I would go to save him with the money. Ava's body was shaking, her chest was heaving violently, and a huge hatred welled up in her eyes. It was you. It was you indeed. You scumbag. You're such a scumbag. Her voice was shrill and angry, and Ethan beside her couldn't help taking 2 steps back in fright. Lucas, it's you who should die. Why don't you go and die? She picked up the things on the table and threw them at me randomly. Ethan quickly tried to persuade her. Ava, don't be so angry. Be careful of the baby in your belly. Baby? I was shocked all over and looked at Ava's belly in disbelief. Seeing me lose my composure, Ava seemed to feel extremely pleased. She raised her chin and said word by word, yes. I'm pregnant, and of course the baby isn't yours. Aren't you jealous of Julian? Don't you hate him? I insist on giving birth to a baby who looks like him. I'll make the baby take Julian's surname. What can you do about it? Lucas, I really feel sorry for you. My chest was heaving, and my head was dizzy. Suddenly, it went dark in front of my eyes, and I couldn't help but collapse to the ground. Ava, how dare you? Over the years, she misunderstood me and took out her anger on me, and I endured it, but I never thought that she could be so heartless and unfeeling. Just before I completely passed out, I heard Ethan answer a phone call. Ava, the private detective must have made some progress. Listen quickly. He even put it on speakerphone on purpose. Mr. Ethan, we found something new. The reason why that Julian was set up was that he once, for the sake of money, didn't hesitate to drug his ex-girlfriend and then find someone to commit a date rape. After that, the victim's fiancé, I had a long and messy dream. In the dream, I was in the hospital. Ava was going to commit suicide again. I held her tightly, and she bit my arm hard. Then the dream changed to a campus scene. Ava, with a long ponytail and an innocent-looking face, handed me a love letter and repeatedly reminded me to ensure that I delivered it to Julian. Then it was the wedding scene. Ava looked ashen-faced. When we exchanged rings, she said coldly, Lucas, I hate you. After that, Ava, crying, came to me and said that she had broken up with Julian. I hugged her and comforted her. Don't be sad. You still have me. Finally, I dreamed that Ava with a big belly looked at me with a strange smile. I didn't know whether the person beside her was Ethan or Julian. I woke up with a start. When Ava's parents saw this, they both let out a long sigh of relief. Lucas, do you know that you've been in a coma for 3 days? You almost scared us to death. Then her mother started crying again. You child, if there's something wrong with your body, why didn't you tell us? There's your medical record in this hospital, you. It seemed that they still found out about my advanced gastric cancer. I managed to force a smile. Mom, it's okay. I'm not sad, so don't be sad either. Her father couldn't say a word and secretly wiped his tears behind my back. I suddenly thought of something and became nervous. Dad, Mom, the person Ava hired seems to have found out. Her father patted my hand, and his expression was hard to tell whether it was mocking or something else. Lucas, she already knows everything. Didn't she want the truth? Now she's got her wish. Then, she's okay. She's not the little girl who couldn't stand the stimulation anymore. Don't worry about her. The most important thing is for you to focus on recuperating. Listen to me. We must actively cooperate with the treatment, no matter how much it costs. Suddenly, there was a commotion outside the door. Ava was roaring, What kind of doctors are you who are supposed to cure the sick and save the dying? So what if it's cancer? I'm telling you, I don't care about the money. As long as you can cure the illness, I'm willing to pay any amount. Her father signaled to her mother, Quickly pull her in. Don't let her make a fool of herself outside. Ava rushed in first, but stopped abruptly when she was a few meters away from me. "Lucas, your mother and I will go out and buy you something to eat first." Then he glared at Ava and said to me again, "Although she's my daughter, no matter what decision you make, your mother and I will stand by your side." After the two elders went out, Ava called me softly. "Lucas." How long had it been since she called me like this? Maybe not since Julian died. I looked at her quietly and corrected her. "Ava, we're about to get a divorce. Please don't call me like that. It makes me feel a bit disgusted." Ava's eyes immediately turned red. She seemed to have not rested well. Her face was extremely haggard. At the moment, she looked at me with regret and distress all over her face. "No, Lucas, don't be so cold to me, okay? I was wrong. I was wrong. I know everything. She apologized to me while crying, but I remained unmoved. She became anxious and rushed over to grab my hand. "Please, don't be like this, okay? I really know I was wrong. I really do. Lucas, I'll treat you well in the future. I won't deliberately make you angry anymore. Can we start over?" Her touch made me get goosebumps, and I quickly pulled my hand back. My knuckles were all protruding. When had I lost so much weight? I said indifferently, "Ava, do you think I still have time to start over with you?" Ava shook her head, and big tears fell down. "It must be possible, Lucas. I can take you abroad. No matter what the cost, I'll accompany you and get your illness cured. Have you forgotten that when we got married, you said you would protect me for the rest of my life?" I just felt disgusted and spoke unceremoniously. "If you accompany me, what about Ethan? What about the child you two have?" Ava seemed to be hit hard, and her face turned terrifyingly pale in an instant. Ava disappeared for several days. Naturally, I didn't care where she went. No matter how much Ava's parents tried to persuade me, I insisted on checking out of the hospital. I didn't want to spend the last moments of my life suffering through chemotherapy. On the day I was discharged from the hospital, I ran into Olivia. She heard our conversation, and a layer of loneliness covered her big eyes. "Uncle, you..." I smiled at her. Like an elder leaving a last word, I told her to learn how to do business from her father carefully, take care of her health, and eat on time. The day after I got home, Ava came back. Her face was sallow, and she looked in poor spirits. She said softly, "Lucas, I had that child aborted." I turned a deaf ear. What did it have to do with me? It wasn't my child anyway. I broke up with Ethan, and he's no longer my secretary. I smiled. He looked so much like Julian. "Are you really willing to let him go?" Ava quickly assured me, "Lucas, I swear, this is true." Ethan's annoying face appeared in my mind, and I said discontentedly, "So what? He received so many gifts from you, including a house and a car. He didn't lose out." When Ava heard me say this, she quickly said, "If you're not happy, I can try to get everything back." She changed her previous indifferent attitude and began to fawn on me humbly. But I felt nauseous. The pain in my body was getting worse, making me moody. The grievances and resentment that had accumulated over the years suddenly welled up, and I sneered, "Over the years, you've given things to this man and that man. What have you ever given me?" There was regret and embarrassment on her face, and then she went out. At dinner time, Ava came back. Hundreds of luxury goods were bought back by her and filled the living room. "Lucas, I'll compensate you for what I owed you in the past. I've also picked up a new car for you. It's downstairs. Let me take you to have a look, okay?" I kicked aside a set of tableware from brand H and said, "Why don't we just smash them all, just like you did that day?" The flattering smile on Ava's face disappeared immediately. These days, Ava has been staying at home with me every day. She always takes every opportunity to talk to me about the things we used to have, trying to move me with our old feelings and memories. "Lucas, do you still remember that you said your dream was to be an astronaut? At that time, I even laughed at you because you were afraid of heights." "I'm afraid of heights." Of course I remember. So Ava could come up with the idea of taking me bungee jumping to torture me. It was her birthday. She demanded that I must accompany her to go bungee jumping. I spent a long time building up my courage and stood on the platform with her. The moment before the fall, my heart was already beating faster, and I couldn't breathe properly. I chickened out and said I couldn't do it. Ava looked at me disdainfully, leaned into my ear and said, "Julian wouldn't be so timid. You can never do what he can do for me." Ava also seemed to suddenly remember this incident. She coughed slightly in embarrassment and stiffly changed the subject. "Lucas, I've inquired. Recently, a very authoritative medical expert has come to City A for a meeting. We can find him. I interrupted her. Can you please stop reminding me all the time that I'm going to die soon? Sorry. By the way, you must have prepared the divorce agreement already. Let's get the divorce done as soon as possible. Ava was taken aback. I won't. Lucas. I don't want a divorce. I'm begging you. Don't mention the divorce again. You need someone to take care of you now, and I can't leave you. Ava's phone rang. She took a look and hung up irritably. Ava, it's not very nice to be so heartless to your little lover. Once we get divorced, he can take my place. Ava blocked Ethan's number in front of me and looked at me with a hurt and pleading expression. Lucas, what do I have to do for you to forgive me? I didn't answer. I thought, there's probably no way to forgive her. Ava insisted on not going through the divorce procedures with me. I thought that before I died, I might as well travel around and see the world. In the past few years, I've been busy with company affairs and consumed so much energy dealing with Ava. It seems that I haven't relaxed for a single moment. When Ava saw that I was suddenly packing my luggage, she started to flatter herself. Do you want to go on a trip? That's okay. Anyway, I've temporarily pushed aside all the matters in the company. I'll buy the plane tickets and book the hotels. You don't have to worry about anything. Let me think. Going to the north? Not good. It might be too cold to go there now. The south? Not good either. It's a bit too hot. Why don't we just go abroad? By the way, we can. She kept talking throughout, and I didn't say a word in response. Just then, the doorbell rang. I got up to open the door, and Olivia was standing at the door, shouting enthusiastically, Uncle, hurry up. The driver has been waiting for a long time. I nodded. I'll just put on a pair of long johns and I'll be ready. Yes, I had made an appointment with Olivia. When she heard that I wanted to go back to my hometown and stay there for a few days, and also heard me say that there were many fun things to do in my hometown, she excitedly clamored to go and have a good time with me. The girl's enthusiasm was overwhelming, and I reluctantly agreed. When Ava saw Olivia, her face changed dramatically, and she shouted without caring about her image, No way. Who are you to him that you're going with him? A young girl should have some self-respect. I was displeased and was about to speak when, unexpectedly, Olivia didn't show any weakness. Ava, I consider Lucas as my big brother. My dad knows that I'm going out to play, and our family's driver is going with us. There's nothing improper between us. Please keep your thoughts and words clean. Ava had never been talked back to like this before, and her face turned dark on the spot. But who was Olivia? She was the young lady of the Olivia group and wasn't afraid of her at all. She gave another crushing blow. Not all relationships between the opposite sex are like you and your secretary, okay? Oh, by the way, when I came here just now, I seem to have seen him downstairs. He must be waiting for you. TSK, TSK, tisk. As soon as Ava heard the name Ethan, she became extremely angry. I pulled my suitcase and walked past her. Ethan was indeed downstairs, and behind him was that Porsche Panamera. When he saw me, he defiantly raised his chin, and hatred shot out of his eyes. His mouth was still as mean as ever. Lucas is going out? Why don't you even drive your own car? You have to hitch a ride with someone else. Oh, I forgot. Lucas is already terminally ill and doesn't have much time left. I stopped in my tracks and suddenly turned to ask Olivia, what should we do when we encounter a green tea person? Olivia understood my meaning. What else can we do? Beat him up? No, it's not right to hit people. Then let's smash his car. I can tell he treasures that crappy car a lot. I couldn't help laughing. Only Olivia would dare to say that it was a crappy car. Olivia signaled to the driver to get 2 golf clubs from the car. We each held one and walked menacingly towards Ethan. He panicked. What are you going to do? Hitting people is against the law. I'm telling you. I'm going to call the police. There are cameras here. Hey, hey, hey. With several loud crashes, the car windows of the Porsche Panamera shattered. Ethan was so angry that he wanted to call the police and shouted, You guys are crazy. I'm calling the police right away. While he wasn't paying attention, I knocked his phone out of his hand. The phone fell to the ground with a clang and was also smashed to pieces. Ethan was furious and rushed towards me with a ferocious expression, wanting to fight me. Even though I was suffering from illness, Ethan, who was as skinny as a chicken, couldn't beat me. What's more, I had a weapon in my hand. I hit him in the abdomen with the golf club, and he curled up on the ground in pain on the spot. I explained to the neighbors who were watching the scene. Everyone saw it. This person was the one who tried to hit me first. I was just acting in self-defense. Olivia was having a great time smashing the car and immediately echoed me, "This man is a mistress, a gigolo who leeches off women. He flirts with and seduces other people's wives, and now he even dares to come here to provoke us. Everyone, tell me, shouldn't he be beaten?" "Damn it," I said, "how could a young guy afford such an expensive car? Damn it. All mistresses deserve to die. I hate mistresses the most. He deserves it. It wouldn't be unjust to beat a person like him to death." After teaching Ethan a lesson, I felt much better in my heart. But my whole body ached terribly, and I finally couldn't hold on and fell down again. I heard the doctor say things like, "There's not much time left, we can only use painkillers, try to fulfill the patient's wishes," and so on. Olivia's eyes were red from crying. When Ava rushed over, Olivia originally blocked the way and didn't let her in, but I stopped her. Ava tried hard to hold back her tears. "Now that things have come to this, I have only one last wish. Lucas, tell me. No matter what it is, I'll do it for you. Divorce." She was shocked, and then tears welled up like a broken dam and couldn't be stopped anymore. Olivia said resentfully, "What were you doing before? You're only pretending to be affectionate now. In my opinion, you actually never loved brother Lucas at all. Now it's just guilt that's bothering you. Since that's the case, can't you just let him go? He doesn't owe you anything." I closed my eyes. Sure enough, those involved are blind, while onlookers see clearly. My feelings for Ava had long been worn away during the 5-year marriage. And she, from beginning to end, had never really loved me. Ava finally agreed to divorce me. We directly filed for a lawsuit divorce, and there was no need for a cooling-off period. We dissolved our marital relationship in the fastest way possible. On the day of the divorce, she looked completely lost. Her parents talked to her a lot and also scolded her a great deal, but she didn't listen to a single word. Olivia helped me find a high-end nursing home in a beautiful place with mountains and clear waters, the kind that doesn't easily receive visitors. I heard that Ethan originally hired a lawyer and wanted to sue us for intentional personal injury and damage to other people's property, but it ended up going nowhere. Because Ava also caused him trouble. Ava was even more ruthless. Not only did she hire a lawyer to take back all the things she had once given to Ethan, but she also managed to turn the tables and made Ethan end up owing her several million. Olivia brought me this news, hoping that I could cheer up. Ava came almost every day, but she couldn't get in. She's really like a fly. No matter how you shoo her away, she won't leave. Sigh, just let her be. I was lying in a rocking chair, basking in the sun, and drowsiness gradually crept over my whole body. I slowly closed my eyes. "Ava, in the next life, we don't have to see each other again."